Right now, your 40s aren't a midlife crisis. They are a robbery in progress. Most people look at the mirror and see gray hair. I look at you and see the most expensive window of time in the history of your life closing shut. Forever. This isn't about being old. It's about being out of time for mistakes. Look around. The world is changing faster than ever, and if you haven't built your own orchard yet, you are standing in an open field while the storm of the century is brewing. In your 20s, you could afford to be reckless with your seeds. You could throw them at the wind and hope for the best. But in your 40s, every move counts. The soil of your life is starting to harden. The sun is tilting toward the horizon. This is the decade where the law of the harvest stops being a story and starts becoming your reality. If you are 40, you have exactly 120 months left of hypergrowth potential before the math starts working against you. If you miss this, you aren't just retiring poor. You are retiring as a burden to your kids, to the state, to your future self. The window is shrinking, and once it's gone, no amount of overtime can bring it back. You can work 80 hours a week in your 50s, but you can never buy back the compounding power of a single dollar planted at 40. Think about the magnitude of that statement. A dollar today has a life force that a dollar in 10 years will never possess. You are holding the key to your own vault, but is the vault actually filling up, or are you just admiring the key? But here is what the bankers and the gurus won't tell you. Your 40s are the most dangerous decade because you have just enough money to feel comfortable, but not enough time to be stupid. You feel like you have time. You feel like you've finally earned the right to relax. You've sacrificed for 20 years, now it's time to enjoy it, right? Wrong. That feeling? That's the trap. It's the comfort poison. It's the moment the farmer decides to stop planting because the barn looks full today, forgetting that winter is 30 years long, and the grain in the barn is only enough for a few months of luxury. Most people in their 40s are living in a temporary oasis while a desert is growing all around them. They aren't building a legacy, they are just consuming the last of their youth. One path leads to the golden harvest. A life where you wake up, and the trees do the work for you. A life where your money makes. This is the life of the master farmer. The other leads to the winter of despair, where you are 70 years old, still working for seeds, praying that the world doesn't change too fast, praying that the government doesn't cut your pension, praying that your health holds up just one more year so you can pay the bills. It's the difference between being the owner of the forest or a scavenger in someone else's woods. The choice you make today isn't about tomorrow. It's about the version of you that exists 20 or 30 years from now. Which version do you want to meet? Before we open the silo and show you the math that will either save you or haunt you, hit that subscribe button. We are building a farm here, not a casino. We don't chase get-rich-quick schemes, we cultivate lasting wealth. Join the cultivators, join the farm. Let's make sure your soil is ready for the biggest growth phase of your life. If you want to stop being a worker and start being an owner, this is where you start. Why the 40s? Why not the 20s or the 50s? Because in your 20s, you have time but no seeds. In your 50s, you have seeds but no time. Your 40s? This is the sweet spot. This is the biological clock of wealth. It's the last decade where a dollar still has enough life force to double 3 or 4 times before you stop working. This is the decade where every dollar you save is worth 10 in the future, but every dollar you waste is a forest burned down before it could even sprout. At 40, you are at the peak of your earning power, but you are also at the edge of the cliff of your compounding power. If you don't jump now, the ground will disappear beneath you. You are at a crossroads that will echo for the rest of your life. Most people in their 40s think they've made it, so they start eating their seeds. They buy the bigger house, the faster car, the status symbol. That car isn't just $50,000. For a 40-year-old, that car is $400,000 of lost retirement growth over the next 25 years. You didn't buy a vehicle. You traded your freedom for leather seats and a depreciating engine. You traded 5 years of early retirement for a shiny toy that will be in a scrapyard by the time you're 60. You are literally burning your future to look successful today. And the saddest part? No one even cares about the car as much as you think they do. They are too busy feeding their own rats. Don't be the richest person in the trailer park, be the silent farmer with the golden forest. In the next few minutes, I'm going to reveal the farmer's math. I'll show you exactly how 3 small shifts in your 40s will determine if you spend your 70s on a beach or behind a counter. We aren't just talking about numbers on a screen, we are talking about the quality of your remaining 30,000 days on this earth. We are talking about the difference between waking up with a sense of peace and waking up with a sense of panic. This isn't theory, this is the law of the harvest. It's the ancient truth that those who plant in the spring will dance in the fall. This isn't financial advice, this is survival. Welcome to the harvest. Welcome to the Fazendero Investidor. Every farmer knows that the biggest threat isn't a storm you can see, it's the pests you can't. In your 40s, you are finally making real money. The promotion hit, the business is stable, the salary is the highest it's ever been in your life, and right when the silo is full, the rats arrive, and they are hungry. They don't just want your grain, they want your future. They want the security you've spent 2 decades building, and the most dangerous part, you probably invited them in without even realizing it. You opened the door to comfort, and the pests came in with it. Lifestyle creep is the most dangerous pest in the world. It doesn't eat your money all at once, it nibbles. You upgrade your furniture because your old stuff looks dated. You need a better vacation because you're stressed. You start eating at places where the menu doesn't have prices. You think, I worked hard, I deserve this. And you do. But the rats don't care about what you deserve. You are sacrificing your 70s to look successful in your 40s. It's a bad trade, and deep down, you know it. It's time to stop letting your neighbors dictate the quality of your retirement. And let's not forget the manager's pest. These are the bankers who offer to help you manage your seeds for a small fee. They tell you it's too complicated for a farmer to understand. But they take their 1% or 2% cut, even if your harvest dies in the frost. Over 30 years, a 1.5% fee can eat up to 40% of your total wealth. That's like a laborer who takes nearly half your apples just for showing you where the orchard is and holding the ladder. Don't let them steal your future. Learn to plant your own soil. Don't be the farmer who works the land only to feed a middleman. Then there is the king of pests, inflation. This is the pest that no fence can stop. If your money is sitting in a standard savings account, the kind the bank tells you is safe, you aren't saving. You are watching a slow-motion bonfire. Inflation is a hidden tax on those who don't know how to plant. It eats the purchasing power of your seeds while you sleep. By the time you reach 65, your safe pile of cash might only buy half of what it buys today. The safe path is actually the riskiest path of all because it guarantees a loss of value. Real safety isn't in a box. It's in a growing, resilient forest that outpaces. True love means being strong enough to support yourself so you can actually be there for others. Here is the hard truth. No, you won't catch up in your 50s. The math of the 50s is a nightmare. To reach the same retirement goal starting at 50 versus starting at 40, you don't just have to save more. You have to save 3 times as much. Every year you wait in your 40s is like cutting down a decade of growth in your 70s. You aren't helping your family by being broke in your 60s. You're just creating another problem for them to solve later. A hero with an empty barn is just another person who needs help. True love means building a foundation that doesn't collapse when the first storm hits. You must put your own oxygen mask on first. Look at this graph. If you start at 40 and plant just $1,500 a month at an average 10% return, you'll have $1.6 million by the age of 65. If you wait until 50 to start that same $1,500, you'll have barely over $500,000. That 10-year delay cost you $1 million. That is the price of waiting for a better time. That is the price of the "I'll catch up later" lie. You can't outwork the clock. You can't out-earn the power of compounding once it's too late. The law of the harvest doesn't care about your excuses. It only cares about your seeds. I don't know how to invest. The market is too risky. I'll do it when the economy is better. These aren't reasons. They are parasites. They are the weeds that choke your future before it can even sprout. The market isn't risky. Being dependent on a government check when you're 75 years old is risky. That is the ultimate gamble. You are betting your dignity on a system that is already cracking under its own weight. We don't play that game. We play the farmer's game. We plant when others are afraid, and we harvest when others are hungry. Now that we've seen the rats and the fire, let's talk about how to kill the pests and start the golden harvest. Because even if you haven't planted a single seed yet, even if you've wasted your 20s and 30s, you still have time. But only if you start right now. The sun is still up, the soil is waiting, and for the first time in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to win the game of wealth. If you wanted to start a physical farm from scratch in your 40s, it would be a nightmare. You'd need to buy the land, find the seeds, fight the weather, manage the laborers, and hope you don't get a bad batch of soil. You'd be working 18 hours a day just to keep the weeds at bay. But what if I told you that the world's most profitable lands are already for sale, and you can own a piece of every single one of them with a humble amount of seeds? What if I told you that you could have the best managers in the world working for you while you sit on your porch and watch the sunset? This is what we call the S&P 500. For us farmers, this is the super farm. It's a collective of the 500 biggest, strongest, and most resilient orchards in the United States and the world. When you buy an index fund, you aren't betting on a stock. You are buying a small slice of the most productive soil in human history. You are hiring the world's best CEOs to be your farm managers. You are owning the technology that everyone uses, the energy that powers the world, and the food that everyone eats. You don't have to worry about whether one specific crop fails, because you own the whole valley. If one orchard has a bad year, the other 499 carry the load and keep the harvest growing. You are betting on human progress, not on a single lucky seed. Most people see a market crash, and they see a tragedy. They see the price of their farm dropping on a screen and they panic. They start chopping down their trees because in the farming world, it's simple physics. You plant a seed, it grows a tree. That tree drops more seeds. If you eat those new seeds, you stay a small farmer forever. But if you plant those new seeds too, soon you aren't planting anymore. The forest is planting itself. This is natural compounding. It's the moment your interest makes more money in a single night than you saved in the entire last year. Reach that critical mass, and you are effectively immortal in the world of wealth. Your forest will outlive you, providing shade and food for your children's children. In your 40s, you are in the final race to build enough trees to let the forest take over. Time is the fertilizer, and you still have enough of it to grow a jungle. By the time you reach your 60s, the compounding forest becomes an unstoppable force. If you started in your 40s, you hit this stage just as the shadows are getting long. This is the definition of true freedom. It's the ability to wake up on a Tuesday morning and realize that your trees worked harder while you were sleeping than you could work in a month of manual labor. That is the peace that a worker never knows, but a farmer lives every day. It's not about having a high score in a video game. It's about having a system that serves you so you can serve the world. It's the ability to spend your time however you want, with whomever you want. Historically, the S&P 500 has returned about 10% a year on average over many decades. Some years are winters where the market is down 10%. Some years are golden summers where it's up 20% or 30%. But the long-term trend of human innovation and productivity is always up. In your 40s, you still have 20 to 25 years of this natural growth cycle ahead of you. You plant your index funds, you wait, and you let the sun of human progress do the heavy lifting for you. Patience is the greatest tool in the farmer's belt. Without it, the best seeds are useless. Imagine walking into your late 60s, knowing that your silo is overflowing, knowing that you never have to worry about a bad season, again because your forest is too big to fail. Imagine the look on your family's face when they realize you've secured their future for generations. That isn't a dream. It's a mathematical result of the decisions you make this week. It's the peace of mind that comes from knowing you followed the law of the harvest. Enough philosophy. It's time to get your boots in the mud. If you are in your 40s, we don't have time for someday or next year. We need a plan that works automatically while you sleep, while you work, and while you spend time with your family. Here is the farmer's 4-step action plan to save your retirement and build your empire from whatever you have left. Follow these steps, and you will be in the top 1% of farmers. Step 1. Repair the silo. You cannot plant a forest if you are one bad storm away from starving. This is your emergency fund. You need at least 3 to 6 months of your total living expenses tucked away in a high-yield silo, a savings account that is there only for emergencies. This isn't for investing. This isn't for vacations. This is your shield. When the car breaks, or the roof leaks, or the company downsizes, you don't dig up your seeds to pay for it. You go to the silo. This gives you the peace of mind to let your investments grow undisturbed for decades. A farmer without a silo is a farmer who will eventually be forced to sell his land. Step 2. Kill the locusts. If you have credit card debt or high-interest personal loans, you have locusts in your field. They are eating your seeds faster than you can ever plant them. No investment in the world consistently returns 20% or 25% a year. If you are paying that to a bank, you aren't a farmer, you're a slave. Burn the debt with every extra dollar you have until the locusts are dead and gone. You can't build a mansion on a swamp of debt. Drain the swamp first. Only then can we truly start the harvest with 100% of our power. Every dollar you send to the bank in interest is a tree you've burned down before it could sprout. Step 3. Plant the super farm. Once the silo is fixed and the locusts are dead, you open a brokerage account. You don't buy hot tips or crypto moons. You buy a low-cost S&P 500 index fund. It's the closest thing to a guaranteed harvest that humans have ever invented. In your 40s, you need to be aggressive. Aim to plant at least 15% to 25% of your income. If you think that's too much, look back at that graph of the 10-year delay and tell me if you'd rather save 20% now or 60% in 10 years. You aren't saving money. You are buying back your future freedom. You are buying the ability to live on your own terms. Tell me in the comments, what is the biggest locust eating your seeds right now? Is it credit card debt? Is it a car payment? Or is it just the fear of getting started? Let's talk about it honestly. Our community is here to... You are deciding who you will be when you can no longer work. You are deciding whether you will be a burden or a foundation. Will you be the one who left the soil better than you found it? Will you be the one who provided the shade for the next generation to play in? Wealth isn't just about your bank balance. It's about freedom. It's about being able to say no to things that don't matter, so you can say yes to the things that do. It's about not being a burden on your children, but becoming their strength. Imagine the peace of knowing your grandchildren's education is already paid for by trees you planted 30 years ago. That is true legacy. That is the ultimate harvest. It's never too late to start, but it's always too late to wait. Your 40s are the last decade where time is still your friend. In your 50s, time becomes your boss. In your 60s, time becomes your judge. Don't wait for a better season or a perfect economy. The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is today, right now, this very minute. Don't let your future self look back and wonder what if. If you're ready to stop being a worker and start being a cultivator, subscribe and join our community. We have a lot of planning to do, and the sun is still up, but it's getting lower every minute. Don't waste another second of your most valuable decade. I'll see you in the next harvest. Start today.